Welcome back, everybody. Very excited to be making this video today as we're actually talking about a brand new release from my all-time go-to at this point, Fujifilm. This morning they actually came out with a release about a few new of their lenses, but a new camera that I'm personally very interested in. It's the Fujifilm X-M5, which they're actually reviving this line after, I want to say, 11 years of canceling the M series. The last one was the XM1. I've actually used that camera before. Really cool to replace their XA line, which has been the more entry-level camera. I think this camera is really, really cool. It's extremely compact. I don't know if they're trying to make up for the X70 that they haven't released in quite some time, but a more user-friendly, budget-friendly X105 almost, with the 26.1 megapixel sensor. It's their X-Trans CMS4 sensor, so it's pretty comparable in a lot of cases to the X105, which is near impossible to get. I do love my Fujifilm cameras. I am currently shooting on a Sony, which I know, as compared to all my other cameras, which I love my Fujis, I ended up picking up this camera just because I got it for a steal, and I have it paired with the Sigma 16mm 1.4. I think it's fantastic for my vlogging setup. If this XM5 was available when I was searching for a more compatible, compact vlogging camera, I honestly would pick this up. But not sure if I'm going to. I'm going to see if I can get hands-on with it, but we'll kind of see. So really excited to talk about this camera because for the first time, aside from the X-T30, this is the first time Fuji has released a under $1,000 full kit in quite some time. And I feel like this is like the perfect overall budget camera for starters who want those Fujifilm film simulations. This is actually equipped very similar to my X-T50 with a film simulation dial, which I think is just spot on for those trying to really get a step above just a camera phone and start to get out there a little bit more. Now, granted, it's not comparable to the XE line because of the fact that it does not have an optical or just EDF in general, any sort of viewfinder. It really just is on that screen. But what I like that they did as compared to like on my X-T50 is the actual flip out screen, which is really perfect for vlogging. Part of the reason I actually ended up with the ZV-E10 was because the fact that I wanted a flip out screen, and even though I have the X-T50, it's not the best unless I want to buy an external monitor, which I could have done that, but I ended up buying a Sony instead. This camera is just really cool. It seems very packed with features. It has Fuji's autofocus, which they are going to be updating for a lot of their newer models. I know that the past few months, Fuji has had a lot of backlash around their autofocus. I personally haven't had too many issues with it, but it could be better. It's not at the level of Sony's. So, that's why I really use my Sony for video overall. But I'm very, very excited to see if I can at least check one of these out in person, because if I'm not mistaken, I was reading the specs a little bit earlier this morning. It's around the size of the X70, which that is one of the coolest cameras that Fujifilm has ever released. Granted, also didn't have an optical viewfinder, but just the compactness, it's phenomenal for a Fujifilm, and it just makes it the ultimate travel camera. I think that this camera with the Fuji 27mm lens, the Pancake, it would just be a great Fuji on the go. Granted, I have the X-T50. I also have an X100T, which I love my X100T. It's probably my all-time favorite camera at this point. But then I also have the Ricoh GR3X, which that's kind of part of the reason I feel like I don't need another more basic Fujifilm. But I really like the look. I mean, it's very classic, very Fujifilm overall. It's got the silver and black combo, or the black on black, which is my personal favorite. It's what all my Fujifilms currently are. And I feel like a lot of people are going to move over to Fujifilm as compared to a lot of these other compact cameras, because as we all know, on the internet these days, Fujifilm has been blowing up. The X106 is impossible to get. The X-T30, when I was first looking for it, was impossible to get. I was very, very lucky to get an X-T50 before they sold out pretty much everywhere. And I like having the interchangeable lenses. Personally, although I would love to buy it just to really have it, I do not do this full time, so it's not something where as a content creator I want to go out and spend, you know, another $900 of my own money for the full kit just to have it. Really looking to upgrade to an XH2 or XH2S in the near future, so I'd rather use my funds for something that's a little bit more outside of my wheelhouse. But this camera, I think, is a great option for new shooters or somebody who just wants to have a very small, on-the-go, compact camera. Very excited to see what these reviews start to get. They look like it's going to be releasing and shipping on November 14th. So pre-order just kicked off for Adorama, B&H, Amazon. They're starting to get listed everywhere. I think with the multi-directional mic, where you can use that without having to use an external mic, that's a really great option. The flip screen, feel like that is a fantastic option for a lot of vlog style, you know, shooters such as myself. It's just going to be a fun camera, and I think Fujifilm did a great job with this. Would I like to see, you know, more of a fixed lens or a lower priced X100 type line? Absolutely. Would I love an X80? Without a doubt. I think that would be an instant sellout for Fuji. That camera is just, you know, the 16.3 megapixel. That's exactly what's on my X100T. So I love that camera, but something a little bit more form-fitting would be great. So let me know in the thoughts. I'm excited to see when people start getting these in hand and doing more reviews. I've started to see a little bit more of these reviews coming out now that a lot of people had the pre-production model. I didn't get one, clearly. It's a newer channel, so I fully appreciate that, but excited to see what people think of this camera. So I know Fuji's also working on an entirely new sensor coming out in 2025. They haven't truly released the specs there. Would I love a full frame Fuji FFF? That's a mouthful. 100%. I know it's anti-Fuji almost because they're only APS-C or medium format. I would buy a full frame Fuji immediately. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Would you do it? Are you a true Fuji shooter? I don't know what that means. I love Fujis, and I would also love a full frame Fuji. That would be pretty cool. So, you know, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and ask me anything in the comments below.